if you grew up without a father figure in your life, you're probably going to want to watch this video. I grew up in Northern Canada. I am one of three brothers. I'm the youngest. I grew up with a mom. I grew up with a dad. And where I grew up, we lived on a small farm. We lived quite secluded in the middle of nowhere. My background is Mennonite by descent. So for all of those that don't really know what a Mennonite is, it's a little bit hard to explain, but it's more of a culture or a people group that holds to fairly strong religious traditions and values and beliefs. Some dress in a certain way with head coverings and certain clothing. Women typically wear dresses and a head covering, and men typically have like a black or brown jacket on. Some people think that they might be Amish, but they're not. We didn't live in a colony. We lived in a house, a normal house like everyone else. Actually, I grew up in a trailer, but we had a normal like home, like a mobile home, like many people. But like I said, we grew up on a small farm. So growing up, grew up, like I said, on a small farm. I'm the youngest of three brothers. We had a very, very busy life, per se. Didn't have a lot of money growing up. My parents always kind of struggled to make ends meet. And my dad worked a few different jobs, and my mom worked a couple jobs as well. And throughout my years of growing up as a child, I thought I had a perfectly normal life. And to maybe many other people, they probably didn't see it that way, but I did. And as a young child, I know my mom, she would always take us to church, but it was rare that my dad would go. He would always kind of stay home or say I'm not feeling well or whatever it was. My mom would take us to church and to Sunday school pretty much each and every Sunday. And we had family gatherings like a lot of families do, Christmas time, Easter time, but my dad, he would never really go, or even if he did show up for a bit, he'd want to go home early, or else he'd just kind of go to his truck and go for drives. Very disconnected. And again, I kind of thought this was normal. This is just kind of what dads do. And what I understood that as the years went on and progressed, and I think it wasn't until I was probably about 6 or 7 years old, it started to really bother me because I started to understand things a little differently. Like my dad was quite absent from my life. And I remember many years ago, I just wanted to hang out with my dad. And I would ask him, like, Dad, do you want to go shoot pellet gun with me? Or Dad, do you want to go for a ride in the truck? And he would just kind of ignore me. Like he was just too busy. And he always looked always had like an angry look on his face. He was always, I think, quite stressed. He did work very hard. But he just never put any time aside for me. And I know as the next couple years went on, from about 6 to 8 years old, I remember just going out, and I remember he was working on the field with the tractor, and I just remember grabbing my little pedal bike and pedal biking out there because I just wanted to sit beside him on the tractor seat and just talk to my dad. And I remember going out there, and I remember parking my bike, driving down the road, and I drove like half a mile. And I remember leaving my bike on the side of the road, and I walked out into the field and I just ran after the tractor. My dad didn't stop for me. And I remember running around the field just trying to get his attention. And finally, when I got him to stop, he stopped the tractor and he opened the door, and I was so excited because I was like, oh, my dad, he finally seen me, right? He finally seen me. And, I was thinking that he just didn't see me this whole time. And, I climbed up the old stairs on this old tractor we had and jumped into the cab, and I was like, Dad. And I was so excited, and he just looked at me, didn't say a word. He just closed the door, and I just sat there like, there was no expression. He just looked at me sternly and just kept looking like he was annoyed by me. And I remember sitting in that tractor seat. And this seat wasn't even a seat. It was like a metal fender well inside this old tractor cab that was like torn. And it wasn't a comfortable seat. It was horribly uncomfortable. I remember sitting there for like an hour and just trying to talk to my dad and be with my dad, but he was always looking around driving. I remember him just looking over my head, not giving me any attention whatsoever. And I remember sitting there and just being like, why doesn't my dad want to talk to me? I didn't I didn't understand why. And I remember after an hour, I just said, Dad, I want to go home. And he didn't even say anything to me. He just opened the door and I just left. And I remember getting on my pedal bike and thinking, what did I do wrong? I don't get it. I don't, does my dad hate me? I know he's not into shooting pellet guns like I was as a kid, or, into outdoor stuff, but he just didn't want to spend any time with me. And I'll never forget that night because something inside me just changed. And I remember in grade 3, I was probably 9 years old, 8, 9 years old. And I just remember wanting to do homeschooling because I wanted to be by myself. I didn't want to see my dad. And my mother, God bless her heart, she tried her best. She always wanted to be around us. But as a young boy, I wanted to be with my dad. I wanted to be cool like my dad, right? I wanted to spend time with my dad. And I remember doing homeschooling and just going out into the bush and going squirrel hunting and prairie chicken hunting with my pellet gun and being with my dog. I had a German Shepherd then. It's my best friend in the world. And we just spent that whole year, just going to the bush. And I just kind of lived this life where I just stayed away from everybody. And I just wanted to be alone because I felt like no one really cared about me. And as the years went on, I kind of kept that mindset. I went to school the following year in grade 4, then 5, and then in grade 8 again, I did homeschooling again. And it was a similar type thing. I just wanted to be alone. So for much of my elementary and junior high years, that's how I lived my life. And it really shaped me because as I got older, I tried again in about grade 10. I tried again to kind of get my dad's attention because nothing really changed throughout the years. He never spent time with me. I can count on one hand how many times my dad wanted to spend time with me or do stuff with me. And I remember in grade 10 again, we sold the farm, and my dad bought a couple snowmobiles for us. I remember just begging him to just go for a snowmobile ride. And I remember the one time I finally convinced him, we're going to go skidooing together. And we went out for 15, 20 minutes and then went home because he said his back hurt. And that was about it. It was so brief. And it seemed like I just had to force him to spend time with me. And that was one of the 5 times he spent time with me. In that whole mindset, like I said, in grade 10, after we went snowmobiling that one time for 20 minutes, he was still the same. He never wanted to spend time, just looked stern and always angry and frustrated. And that was the time that I just said, okay, I waited from grade 3 to basically grade 10 to even ask him to spend time with me again. And he gave me about 15 minutes. But as I got older, and then I was in my teenage years, I was 15 years old, going on 16 at that time, I just started pouring into my friends. I started just not really being home. And if I was home, I just kind of do my own thing. And it always felt so vacant. I always felt like there was this part of my heart that was gone because my dad should be there. My dad should be a big part of my life. And I remember snowmobiling over to my cousin's house who lived across the field, about 2 miles away. And I remember going there multiple times throughout the winter because my cousin's dad, and at that time we actually played guitar together, my cousin and I, so we'd go there for band practice. And I remember my cousin's dad, he would always go snowmobiling and tubing with us. He would play outside on the driveway, play some hockey with us. He'd play inside with us. He'd laugh, he'd wrestle. And every time I went there, I was like, man, my uncle plays with me more than my dad. Like, so I all winter I went there like honestly like twice a week just because I craved having that father figure in my life. And I'm so thankful for my uncle because that was a critical moment in my life from 15 to 16. And I won't get into this video. I'll do it on another video, but having that father figure there was so key, and it just really shaped my next 6 7 years to right till I got married because of him spending time with me. And I know many of you watching, you may have had fathers growing up that were absent like mine was, or maybe you grew up without a father. And maybe there's bitterness in your heart, in resentment, either towards the dad that you have or the dad that you didn't have. But I want to encourage you with something, because as I've grown up and now that I'm 41 years old, I've understood that although I did not get the dad or have the dad and father figure that I would have loved to have had in my life as a child and as a kid growing up, I can tell you this: we have a father in heaven that loves us so much. And he just craves to spend that time with you and to spend that time with me. When we pray, when we get in his word, when we use our gifts to share others, when we exemplify the fruits of the Spirit, the joy, the love, the peace, the patience, the kindness, the Father is there. And he says in his word, where two or more are gathered in my name, I am there. When you're fellowshipping like we are in the comment section of these videos, he is there. When you are meeting with your best friend who is a believer, he is there. He craves that relationship with you. He wants it so bad. And as I've gotten older, I've just realized that I'm so eternally thankful and grateful that I have a Father in heaven who sent his Son, Jesus Christ, to die for me. And he craves that relationship with us so much. And he's there for you, my friend. And he's there for me in that comfort, in that peace, in that relationship that I now have with the Father. And it's still growing every day. I am so thankful because he gives me everything I need. He gives me everything. He fills me up. He fills my cup up. And it's more than I could have ever asked for. And if that's you today, without that father figure, turn to the eternal Father and pour your heart out into him and spend time with him, because he wants to spend time with you. He is all we need. If you've lost your dad, if you've lost your mother, if you've lost brothers and sisters, cousins, friends, it doesn't matter, because when you turn to God, the Father, and you build that relationship with him, he will fill you right to the brim. I was so lonely growing up. I was so lonely. And it wasn't until I started digging in to the Bible and digging into reading and studying his word that just filled me up to the point where I just didn't miss my earthly dad nearly as much as what I thought when I was a child growing up, because he filled that up and then some. And he's given me so much more than I could have ever asked for. So my encouragement to you all today watching this video is, if you grew up like me, where your dad was just simply absent in your life, draw near to the Father, because he will draw near to you. The scriptures are so clear on this, my friends. He wants a relationship with you. He wants to hear your burdens. He wants to hear your cries. He wants to develop such a strong relationship with him that you two are just like metal on a chain link, that you're just fused together by the power of the Spirit and the Holy Ghost. He is our answer to everything, and he wants that relationship desperately with you. Have a blessed night, and I'm just so thankful for each and every one of you.